Hello, and welcome to my third video, guys. So today's video will be about how to de-seed a pomegranate. And I have in front of me my lovely pomegranate. They're kind of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, kind of a hexagonal shape. Mostly round, varying shades of red. But I noticed that pomegranates were finally in store. They only come in stores about a few months out of the year during the winter, late fall. But I saw the display and I felt that I had to get some because I love these things. So we've got our price ticket right there, which we'll remove in a bit. This is the top of the pomegranate. I believe these grow kind of as hanging fruit on trees, so this is where it would kind of connect to the tree. And I just love this bright red color of the outer skin here. Now once we get inside of it, you've got kind of a white membrane that surrounds each seed, and it is a bit of a process, but I think that just the taste of the seeds is so wonderful, and I've always heard that the health benefits of pomegranates are really great. Sometimes if I'm feeling like I'm getting sick and I have pomegranates on hand, I'll just eat a whole one because they're just so good and they kind of make you feel a little bit better right away just because they're so awesome to eat. Alright, so today I have my pomegranate. I also have a knife to open it up. I've got a little dish towel to dry off my hands. Also have just a plain bowl that I'll put the outer skin in. And this is kind of just a technique that I'll be showing you. It's kind of different from simply cutting it open and picking out the seeds, because I also have here with me today this pot. And this pot is just full of nice warm water so that while you're de-seeding the pomegranate, which was very cold in the fridge, it doesn't make your hands too cold. So I'll get this out of the way first, and we will be using that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to just use my knife to cut open the pomegranate. And what we're going to do is first we'll cut it open. We'll cut it into 4 quarters. Then I'm going to take each quarter and rest it inside the water in this pot. And what'll happen is, as you pick apart the seeds, or the arils, as they're actually called, those will actually drop to the bottom of the pot, and then all the membrane that you don't need to eat and all the outer skin will float to the top. So this is kind of an effective and easy way of doing it. First I'll just peel off this sticker. And the reason why I'm doing this in water is because the juice of the pomegranate is very, it can stain, so even getting it on your hands and on your fingers can kind of stain them, the tips red, and then within a day or two the redness turns brown and it just makes your fingers look a little bit weird. So if you cut it within the water, it kind of dilutes that juice, and then your hands don't get stained. If you ever feel like they are getting stained, you can always just kind of pour out that water and replace it. Okay, so you can choose to either cut the pomegranate across its center like this, or you can cut it from the top down. I'm just going to go with the center today. My table's a little bit unsteady, so I don't want to do this too hard. Here we go. Okay. So, you can already see this juice coming to stain everything. And these are the arrows. These ones are kind of cut up because I just used my knife, but later I'll show you some whole ones. And I just love this bright red color. It's beautiful. Okay, so I'll cut these in half one more time. I'm going to dip each one into my water. So one of them is already in there. We've already got a bunch of pomegranate juice. Okay. So going to put these aside for a second in my bowl so I can bring my pot over and I can start this process. And as you can see, this is all the juice that's come out only from cutting the pomegranate. So you can kind of imagine, now that it's on the cutting board, we've avoided getting it on our hands. Alright, so I'll move the cutting board aside. Move it over to the other corner of my table. Then we can bring that pot around. Okay. So, there's my pot. And I've just left my other pomegranates in this bowl. And I'll do 1/4 at a time to show you guys. So, we've got our first 1/4 here. And you're just going to take the pomegranate and submerge it, and then begin to break it apart. And as you break it, the arrows can just kind of be picked away, and they'll float right to the bottom. I'll eat one of them right now just to describe the taste for you, as well as I can manage. So, the closest taste I can use to describe it would be an apple taste within a grape texture, I suppose. Because each time you pop one of these in your mouth and bite down, they kind of pop open like a grape. Alright. So we've got a good start so far. And these seeds, by the way, they just look very good, very healthy. This is a piece of that membrane I was talking about, which just kind of floats up to the surface. And that membrane is everywhere, but you can just kind of pick away those seeds underwater there. Alright. So now at this point, you've just broken off a piece. You can just set these big pieces of outer skin aside, and we'll just compost those later. Now when you're doing this, make sure that you're getting every little piece, every little area and corner of the whole fruit, because these seeds like to hide in places. They do a very good job of fitting a ton of seeds into a little space. And in fact, after I finish with the whole pomegranate, I'll show you a whole bowl full of the seeds, and it's kind of amazing how they all fit into the size of a pomegranate before, but then they're kind of overflowing in the bowl. Just as a really good way of fitting all those seeds into one. Now what I just did accidentally was pressed and squished a little seed, and that's okay because that's the whole reason why we're doing this technique with the water in a big bowl or a pot. Because when you squish those seeds accidentally and you get the juice on you, it can't really affect you. So here we've kind of exhausted all of our options. We've gotten all the seeds out of this one. We can put this on aside. We've still got this whole chunk to do. And remember, this is only a piece of 1/4 of our whole pomegranate. And we've already got a pretty good amount. We've got a bunch contained within this membrane, so we'll just kind of peel it back slowly. Love the sounds of that water. And as the little seeds plop in. So as long as you're being very careful, you can kind of just hold the seeds above the water, as long as you're not accidentally squishing them open and releasing that juice inside. I just love the bright red color of these. You can probably see it better against the white of the pomegranate membrane itself. It's just so bright, such a vivid red. What I really like about these is how, although they're only available a few months out of the year, they kind of just remind me of Christmas. So I tend to eat a lot of them around then, and they're just such a vivid red. Alright, so I've moved on to my second quarter. Do some of this one underwater. Even if you just kind of break the spine of the whole thing, so to speak, you kind of break that, just kind of bend it back. That'll allow a lot of them to just fall out naturally. I can't resist eating a couple as I go. They're just so delicious. I like to just have all of them in a big bowl once I'm done. And you can kind of just eat it like cereal. Just use a spoon and just kind of spoon them into your mouth. As a snack. Forgot one. Alright, so I'll move on to my third quarter now. So we're halfway there. Now these seeds can be eaten in full. Each little arrow contains some juice and a seed in there. And although some places sell pomegranate juice in bottles, I really think that they taste the best when you're just eating them fresh. Now pomegranates are a little bit expensive compared to other fruits. I got these $2, two pomegranates for $5 at the store. I think Stop and Shop carries them. I've seen them at Target before in the produce section, if you have a produce section of your Target. Kind of in like a refrigerator aisle. Well, not an aisle that was selling refrigerators, but you know what I mean, a refrigerated aisle. And I'm sure that if you can't find them in your local store, just ask and they might be in a different area that you weren't expecting. They usually sell them in kind of just in a basket of separate pomegranates, so they don't come in a bag together or anything, but you can feel each one and look at its color and see which one you want to pick. And when you are shopping for these, the things that I usually look for include a firm consistency of the outer skin when you're feeling it. Kind of like how you would go shopping for avocados. When you buy the avocado, you don't want them to already be soft. Unless you're looking to make some guacamole that very day. But otherwise, you want to buy fruit when it's in a state that will allow you to be able to wait a couple days before you eat it, so that way it's not really pressing you to eat it right away, and there's no pressure involved. Now with pomegranates, if you can imagine again, this being a whole pomegranate once again, you would just kind of press and feel the outer edge, and it should feel firm, not soft or too hard either. And sometimes when you open them up, you'll get a few areas of seeds that are more pink or white or clear. And sometimes you'll get a few areas that have a few brown seeds, and those aren't really so good to eat. They are still edible, but it's not really that true flavor. You want these arrows to be very crispy. When you bite into them, they shouldn't be soft. So you're looking for that crispiness and for the outer skin to be firm, not squishy or soft, like a ripe avocado. And you can store these in the fridge. I actually bought this one about, I want to say over a week ago, and I ate the second one that I bought with it already. That one did have a couple of clear and pink seeds, but this one is coming out very nicely. Looks beautiful so far. Okay, so we're on the final stretch here. This is our last quarter. this quarter's still cold. Just having been taken out of the fridge. You can use pomegranates, like I said, just eating them plain with a spoon. That's always a great method. You can also add them to smoothies, although I think their unique flavor kind of gets lost when mixed with other fruits in a smoothie, but it's always worth a try. You do not have to eat all of this in one sitting. You can store them in the fridge even after you've kind of unwrapped them from their shell, if you will. You can store them just in a container of some sort in the fridge for, I would say even a few days. Although I haven't ever really been able to wait that long. I'll do this portion underwater. You just want to be careful that you don't allow too much of that white membrane to stay attached to the little seeds. It's fine if you do. They just kind of, if they're still there when you're eating them, they kind of don't taste very good. Not sure if you can tell with this lighting, but this one seed right here is not looking particularly good. And I'll pick another one and show you the difference. So, let's see. Here you have a healthy one. And then next to it you have one that's kind of browning and shriveled. This one is what you don't want. I'm just going to put this one aside because we don't need it and I don't want it to get mixed up. It won't taste noticeably that bad, but I mean, if you find them while you're doing this and if you have the opportunity to kind of pick them out, that's probably the best way to go. So that was a good example. And honestly, that's the only one I've seen this whole time. So that's pretty good. Alright. Oh, here's another one actually, I think. Yeah, here we go. So this one, half of it looks pretty good on this side. I'll put it here. So half of it looks pretty good over here, and then you kind of flip it, and that's a little brown. So this is another good example. And again, I really don't think, if one of these was mixed in with a bite of pomegranate, it wouldn't really make a difference. And you probably wouldn't really even taste that much of it, but if you have the opportunity to find it, put it aside, then you might as well. I kind of would explain it as like, if you could just cut out the bad part of an apple. It's just easier to do beforehand rather than biting into it later. Okay, so you can just take out these pieces of membrane. I'll just remove those from our pot. Okay. And once you've gotten as much of that out from the surface as makes sense, then just kind of do another once over of the whole pot and make sure that you've gotten most of it out of the seed bed here. Alright, I found another not so good one. Yeah, so this one's definitely, I would say this one's the worst one so far. See that, how it's definitely kind of shriveled up? Yeah, we'll just take that one out as well. But you know what? To have like 3 or 4 shriveled ones out of all these perfectly fine ones, that's really good. They're almost like little corn kernels or something. So you can see how very bright red these are. It's just a nice deep red. You can also notice how they're sinking to the bottom. Okay. So, for our last step, what we'll do is, here we go. I'm going to remove as much of that membrane as I can. Okay, so what we'll do, oh, I just found an extra piece in the membrane pile. We'll put that one back in. It's funny how they get away from you like that. Alright, so again, the last step we will do is go over to our sink, and I'll pour out I'll try to get all the seeds down to the bottom, and you can just kind of like poke them. They should float down. Oh, it actually works. Wow. Let's see. Yeah. Alright. So, that worked pretty well. So, I'll go over to my sink and I'll tip the pot and pour it so that all of the surface water goes away. And you're just really trying to drain out all of the water. You can just use a strainer if you have one. I have one, but it's really big and I'm not sure if I want to clean it out after. So first I'll strain out most of the water. Alright, so you can take it over into the kitchen and I'll see you guys there. This is where it can get kind of tricky. I think I will use that strainer for simplicity's sake. I just want to continue straining that until all that water is really out. Oh no, I lost one. That's okay. Alright, so at this point what you might want to do is to pour the pomegranate seeds into a bowl. And you might want to line that bowl with a few paper towels. So I got my bowl here and I have got a couple paper towels. I'm just going to fold those in half. And I will just set those into the bowl. Just like that. Very simple. Okay. So I've got my bowl prepped. So I'm just going to pour these in. And hopefully those paper towels are just going to absorb any last bit of moisture and water. It's totally fine if you want to skip this step. I just like to do it so that there's not so much excess water with those pomegranate seeds, because it kind of just dilutes the flavor a little bit. Alright, so that does look pretty good. I'm just going to take out a couple extra pieces of membrane. kind of spread those out and just give them a pat. Okay, so I'm very excited to show you what we have here. We have the finished result. You can just take a scoop, eat them up. These taste great. I'll try and describe the flavor. They're kind of like the tartness of a crisp apple with a little bit of strawberry and watermelon flavor, I guess. I'll try another scoop. Yeah, I think that's what I would go with. Alright, and I'll see if I can give you guys a closer up shot. Alright, there we go. Ooh, last one. Yep, so that's just a gorgeous red right there. Love these things. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was relaxing and informative. And I really hope that you go out and try out some pomegranates now that you know how to de-seed them. They're just so delicious and you can use them in so many recipes. I eat them before I can use them in a recipe because they're just so good on their own. There's one more for the road. The way they just kind of like pop in your mouth like a little grape is really kind of cool, really fascinating. But anyway, hope you guys go out and try these, and I hope you have a great day or night or whenever you're listening. Alright, enjoy.